The Prime Minister had two big areas of attack. One was on what Mr. Gandhi said about Mr. Bittu, and the other was referencing Congress workers who have raised slogans about, Prime Minister says, Modi ki kabar khodni chahiye. And when you juxtapose this with the fact that Speaker Om Birla asked the Prime Minister to skip his address in the Lok Sabha, do you think Rahul Gandhi provided unnecessary fodder to the BJP with his comments on Ravneet Bittu?
Barkha, thank you so much for having me on the show, and thank you for the wishes for my mother. I'll convey it to her. Two aspects. If Parliament does not work, I have said this multiple times, it benefits the BJP because we have serious issues to get the BJP on the ground in. For example, the trade deal, as you rightly put it. The trade deal being announced by President Trump, whatever reasons Piyush Goyal might give, the apology of a press conference Piyush Goyal ji had, where it seemed to be so bitter and he had nothing to say or any specifics about the deal. No reason why America is announcing we will not buy oil from Russia, whatever else and however else you spin it, we know that numbers come down of oil that we're buying from Russia. So we could have got the government on the mat. Believe me, we still don't know what's plan B in Bangladesh, Syria, etc. This government escapes every parliament session. Now let's come to what happened with the Prime Minister before we come to Rahul Gandhi ji. So Rahul Gandhi got a book or an unpublished book, a report. We all know that this particular excerpts of what Rahul Gandhi ji was saying was already put out by PTI because the book was supposed to release in December 2025. We also know a lot of websites, etc., carried these pieces. So I don't know why suddenly the caravan carried it. Rahul ji saw it, but it was already in public domain. Third, if you actually read what was in both in that piece and otherwise in the book, the generals actually praised the Prime Minister. I mean, the Prime Minister in 2 hours told him, go ahead and do what you want. And in that particular attack that the Honorable LOP is speaking about, actually we took the height. So I don't know why the BJP prevented him from speaking. It was actually an advantage BJP. So I don't even know if the Congress advisors to Rahul Gandhi actually read that article because they have no idea of what actually that article said. It was called Operation Snow Leopard and we actually took the heights. So I don't know why Amit Shah ji and Rajnath Singh ji stopped the LOP from speaking. Now, to what Om Birla ji said. He said, look, the Prime Minister could have been attacked physically. If my chachi had a prominent Adam's apple, she could be my chacha, but she doesn't. Therefore, she's my chachi. Now, if there was any attack on the Prime Minister, that would have been on camera one. Number two, the fact of the matter is, Parliament MPs have immunity from speaking, not from physical violence. For example, if an MP were to misbehave with a woman physically, that would amount to being charged. If you physically abuse somebody or hurt somebody, including the Honorable Prime Minister, that's a criminal offense you don't have immunity for. So how would the Prime Minister be attacked hypothetically? And if the Speaker had knowledge of the Prime Minister being attacked, he's duty bound to give us the names, not via sources. Not via sources, but the names that XYZ women MPs were planning to attack the Prime Minister and harm him. Now, the last part of Rahul Gandhi ji's behavior. I love the Congress. I love standing up for the Congress. I vote the Congress. But his advisors need to grow up. This looked bad, that image. Look, whatever his interactions with Ravneet Bittu, it looked bad. It looked like those interactions looked like a bunch of kids were out. They were out of class. And Rahul ji came there and Bittu was going and it looked like a scrap between school kids. Except this is the Parliament of India. And Rahul ji is the LOP. It does not behove him, and I've said this. Those guys around him who are laughing, giggling, acting, you really need a mature opposition now in the country. We can hold this government. People are pissed off with this government. So those images also look very bad, and that's the real truth. And I'm saying this because I vote the Congress.
So I think what you're saying, before I go to Dilip, is you believe that if the Speaker thinks that anybody was going to physically harm the Prime Minister, because of which the Speaker asked the Prime Minister not to come to the Lok Sabha, the Speaker is duty bound to name those. So there you disagree with the Speaker. You disagree with the opposition strategy of bringing Parliament in a sense to you basically believe if Parliament doesn't function, it only helps the BJP because the BJP escapes hard questions. 2. And 3, you believe that whoever advised Rahul Gandhi, maybe it was he himself, to make that throwaway remark clearly targeted at Bittu for being a traitor to the Congress and not a traitor to Sikh. But of course, the BJP has taken it and used it as a political issue. You believe Rahul Gandhi or his advisors made a mistake on that one. Yes? Is that a fair summation?
Yeah, I mean the Bittu thing. The remark was on him leaving the party, and it wasn't. It was more like he was saying, you will have to come back to our party." But look, you are the LOP. You don't have to indulge with every member of parliament or MOS. Just you must have a certain stature, like you must have a certain aura, and those around Rahulji laughing, giggling, they laugh. It doesn't look good. You tell me, Barkha, honestly, how did those visuals look? Would you expect an Arun Jaitley ji, a Sushma Swaraj ji, or when Congress was in opposition, a Manmohan Singh ji, Sonia ji doing this? It doesn't
I'll tell
look
you,
good. They're laughing, giggling. There was a sorry, one line. There was a senior MP behind who was asking Rahul ji, "Don't do it." In those things, it doesn't look good. I personally feel. I think Parliament की एक गरिमा होती है. We must maintain it.
So,
Both
Dilip,
sides.
so let me pick up Tehseen's last point and take that to Dilip. What I thought when I saw Rahul Gandhi make that off-the-cuff remark as Mr. Bittu walked past was whether he would have made a similar remark to a Jyotiraditya Scindia or a Milind Deora, or was there some sort of, I don't know, class dimension or some other dimension here, or did he consider Mr. Bittu somebody he could make the remark to and get away? Either way, he seems to have provided the BJP a kind of narrative on Sikhs, which even the Prime Minister has picked up, point one. Point two, do you agree with Tehseen that there are questions to be asked about, for example, this trade deal? You've had Mr. FM Jaishankar say today that Piyush Goyal has to answer those questions. You've had the MEA formally deny a Bloomberg story on Mr. Doval having been part of meetings in Washington. There are questions to be asked, and Tehseen says that the Congress may be making a mistake here by not asking those questions and then providing this fodder with the Bittu episode. What do you say, Dilip?
My sense is that this fodder outside Parliament was childish and immaturely handled. You'd certainly, and also a lot is lost in translation. You have a traitor in a class, you have a traitor in a football match, but when you use the word, when it's translated into Gaddar, as the Prime Minister has done in his speech, then it sounds a lot more ominous and dangerous. So, in a sense, Rahul has fallen into that trap, and it has the point, set and match almost to the Prime Minister. Is there a sort of the imagery of a leader of the opposition doing that kind of thing is really not great optics? But what is even more foolish is the sight of his so-called advisors standing there and egging him on like, not very bright people. That is the sadder part, and that is there for everybody to see. So, but the Prime Minister's reluctance to speak in the Lok Sabha, I think, will go down in history unless the Speaker is able to defend what he is supposed to have advised the Prime Minister on. He will need to quote chapter, verse, and evidence to actually make up for this huge lapse in parliamentary behavior. This is not the way it's done. So taking the debate into the Rajya Sabha is one way of making sure that you get unbroken sound bites for the length of the speech, but that isn't going to get very much more. And unfortunately, I'm sure you'll come to it in the next segment, but the speech itself was really a throwback, almost like Throwback Thursday all over again.
Okay, we'll come in detail, as you mentioned, Dilip, to Modi's speech, to the Prime Minister's speech. Tehseen, because I know you have to hop off, I'm just going to allow you a quick one more word with the panel's consent and then come to everybody else. Here's the thing that Dilip says. He says the two things are different. He thinks Rahul made a mistake. He made a mistake on the Bittu issue. He and his advisors. He clearly provided the BJP an issue on a platter. But he thinks that the Prime Minister should have spoken in the Lok Sabha, and nothing that we've heard from the Speaker is actually convincing. What do you say?
No doubt about it. I've tweeted that. In fact, I put out a bite saying that if the Speaker has evidence, he's duty bound to act, as I said in my opening remarks. And physical attack on the Prime Minister is criminal. Parliament immunity does not prevent you from acts of criminality. So if he has the names of those who are going to attack the Prime Minister, he must put it out and we have to act against them. If he doesn't have the name, he must put out the evidence or the intelligence that he had of who those MPs were who were likely to attack the Prime Minister, and not via sources. he is duty bound to put it out. The Prime Minister is duty bound to speak in Lok Sabha, and the Prime Minister not speaking, I completely concur with Dilip, is an insult to we the people. He had to answer questions. He's escaped. But the other part also that I'm seeing, what happened with Rahul ji is not just Parliament. It's also, there's a second part to it. Mamata Banerjee, a sitting Chief Minister, was arguing in the Supreme Court of India. When has that happened? First time. And all the news cycle was what happened at Bittu. So you must understand who benefits is the BJP who keeps running away from the news cycle. We need to get the BJP on the mat. Barkha, all of us here, BJP supporters or Congress supporters like me, have zero clue for this so-called trade deal is. And the only answer Piyush Goyal ji gave us is, आपको मिर्ची लगी, ममता बनर्जी इज एंटी इंडिया, स्टैलिन को सबक सिखाएंगे, इंडिया अलायंस को हरा देंगे. अरे भाई वो सब ठीक है ब्रो, आप बताओ डील क्या हुआ? No idea, nothing. And we've allowed the BJP to escape. That is what pisses me off. But yes, the Prime Minister must speak in Parliament and Lok Sabha. He cannot not speak in Lok Sabha. If after 11 years of government, the Prime Minister is not safe to speak in his own Parliament, I think we should question ourselves as a democracy.